go into our last topic of the day because we're running out of time. Is and our last topic obviously is a player poised to break out this season. You guys already know. I think Dylan Strom's gonna have a fantastic year. Well, I hope at least. He's not my guy, but we'll get into my guy later. David, who's your guy for someone that's gonna break out this season?
So for me, I'm going to go with a former first overall pick, 2018 draft. The Buffalo Sabres took Rasmus Dahlin. Listen, it's no knock to Dahlin, but the Buffalo Sabres have been absolute garbage for the past 10 years. And last season, we really got to see maybe that light at the end of their long tunnel. You have guys like Tage Thompson, who is a we're a big fan of on this show. At least me and Christian are. I'm not too. I forgot Brian's thoughts on him, but I'm a big fan of Thompson. I know Christian is as well. Um, he had his breakout last year. I think this year, and it's tough to say for a former first overall defenseman who had pretty good numbers, 53 points last year with 13 goals in 80 games. That minus 22 is definitely not something that looks good, but I'm not always going to look at plus minus here. For me, I'm looking for, a 60 plus point season from him this year. He's definitely got the offensive capabilities to notch 15 plus goals. He almost hit it last year, as we could see, and a team that's improving and starting to get its confidence once again. I don't think it's that much of a stretch to see big improvements and a big jump out of him this year. And I know a lot of people have been looking to see that jump from him for the past couple of years, and we started to see glimpses of that last year. But I think this season will be the start of first overall pick, generational talent, however you want to think of him, Rasmus Dahlin. The one thing I will be looking at though is his defensive game to improve. I know that's been a bit of a talk that as a defenseman, his defense isn't the greatest, but I guess you could give him a little bit of leeway. 22 years old, defensemen like that typically take 4, 5, 6 years in the league to fully get their feet under them. So maybe we're going to look at a much better, much improved defensive performance out of him this year. And those are my predictions on him. I don't know if you guys anything to add on to that.
I think
Right, you got anything on Dalian?
I think Dallin's poised to do well. I think that whole Buffalo franchise is poised to do better than in the past. I mean, you can only be bad for so long. Oh, no, I'm kidding. That was that was just a dig at Buffalo. But regardless, they are taking the steps to do better, and especially with their team, of course, improving slowly. You can only go up from the bottom, right? And they were at the bottom. Now they're taking steps back up. Hopefully, Dallin shows that he is worth the number one pick overall back in 2018.
Yeah, I'd say he has the potential to be in that Makar Fox Hawk of perennial Norris Trophy winner. So if he gets anywhere clear or anywhere near that this year, that'd be awesome to see. My breakout pick is Dawson Mercer, second year forward with Jersey Devils, who I mentioned. They might be a breakout team this year. So sticking with the theme, I think Dawson Mercer last year, I believe he had 17 goals, 45 of the 45 points. Yeah, something like that. And my comparison for him, not necessarily in terms of play style or size or anything, but I'm looking for a possible Jason Robertson like ascent where Robertson in the shortened season had a similar point per game clip, maybe a little bit higher, but I see Dawson Mercer as a do it all kind of forward. And I can honestly see him getting into that maybe 25 goal, 60 point range on a New Jersey Devils team that offensively looks pretty good up front as well. Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Heischer, and you throw in guys like Sharon Govich. I kind of like Mercer's chances as jumping into that definitive core in New Jersey. So he's one name that I've pointed out as that might be the guy on New Jersey that helps get them into that playoff picture.
Okay, I can definitely see the New Jersey doing better, and Mercer could definitely contribute to that. David, you have anything?
Yeah, just I mean, I hope for your sake, Christian, that you're right. I know the past couple of years have been it's always been the summer of Jersey where
Yeah.
we're always looking for them to take the steps, but those steps, it was always like two steps forward, but then three steps back. So, Dawson Mercer is going into his second full season this year. 42 points for a rookie campaign for a top 20 pick there. It is a pretty good start. If he is able to build on that, I think New Jersey could definitely have a good weapon on their hands going forward, and definitely taking the reins in the future. He's still only 20 years old.
This
You
speaking
know,
of
I do really like that pick.
speaking of New Jersey, it's like it can't be. I can't understate how good Jack Hughes is. Like this guy's poised to get 100 points in his career eventually. I rate him very, very highly, and I think that if New Jersey is gonna pop off, he's gonna be the one to make the waves. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna be the one that's
I
gonna
mean,
have
we
all the
last
headlines.
year, right? Yeah, like he had a great season last year. I believe he was
Yes,
above a point per game. It's just a health thing, right? So
but
maybe
like
he's got a little bit more meat on his frame, and if he's healthy, yeah, I put him in that Patrick Kane mold, right? Like I think you're right. If it's not this year, 100 points, I could totally see it next year.
I'm thinking like leading the league almost in scoring. Like that's how highly I rate him. Obviously, you have McDavid that's gonna probably run away with 200 points. If Jack Hughes is getting 150 or 120, then McDavid's gonna get 300, right? I'm using
Yeah,
bad numbers here, but
he
you guys see
probably
my
needs
point.
someone to become his running mate. Yeah, he
Yeah,
needs a running mate in New Jersey to help him
yeah,
rack up the assists, perhaps, right? Yeah,
but
could
Jack
be
Hughes,
Holtz.
Maybe Dawson Mercer takes that
Right?
role.
I'll
maybe,
take it, man.
Never
but
know.
I don't know. Like I'm big on Jack Hughes, and I think that if New Jersey's gonna like pop off, like he's gonna be the one behind orchestrating everything, just because of how sick he is. I don't know. But that's actually not my breakout pick. I actually had a list of guys that I was going to break out that I had listed that I thought was going to break out. I'll give it shortly, but then I'll give you guys my actual pick just because we're running out of time. My list is Connor McMichael, Faravari, Georgiev slash Francouz, Ottinger, and I think that Jack Eichel will have a bounce back season because, obviously injury. But my pick, shameless plug, is Jake Vrana. Yeah, of Detroit Red Wings. That hurts a little bit to say, but what I can tell you right now is that he does shoot at an elite level. He does score at an elite level, and if you guys read my article, which you guys all should, if you guys are listening to this, he actually was fifth, well top four in the league for goals per 60 minutes. Who do you think beat him out?
Forsberg, Matthews, and I don't know.
Forsberg, Matthews, and Chris Kreider. Vrana was
Mm,
Yeah,
fourth.
that makes sense. Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense.
If it
Hey,
wasn't for
but
his
I mean, yeah. Tell us some of the names he. Well, I mean, you don't have to. Those are the only three that beat him out. Anyone else in the NHL, Brandon beat out. Put it that way. Yeah.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
That's. I didn't know that. I
Well,
didn't know that.
number five is Vetchkin. I know that for a fact. Any other list I don't have
Okay.
off the top of my head,
Wow.
but that's pretty impressive if you think about it. The only thing that
Well,
held him back was the
yeah.
injury. His dollar per value is ridiculous if he can reach that 40 goals, because I think he's only making around like 5 right now, off the top of my head, which sounds about right. But
Yeah.
going back to it, if he can stay healthy, he's another one of those guys in that Atlantic division that can turn it up and cause some havoc. I mean, you guys play in a tough division. We'll we'll leave it at that. Any thoughts?
Yeah. I
I
think. I
mean,
think you're right. It's a tough division. Dave, get into it below.
sorry.
No,
I
go.
mean, dude, everything you've brought up is definitely like true. Like, man, I know you've been saying it for a while, Brian, especially when he was on the Caps, and I've definitely paid more attention to him just because we're friends. But man, it can't be understated how sneakily good Jacob Vrana is, and I think in a system that might suit him better, or at least give him more freedom, more reign to thrive in the Detroit system. Where he's not kind of sitting behind those bigger names in Ovechkin and Backstrom. I think definitely has helped him and will continue to help him. Again, his health is definitely a cause for concern, as it is for everybody. You can't predict injuries, but a fully healthy season of Jacob Vrana could definitely perk up the ears of a lot of people around the league.
I have the chart here on my article that like has the Austin Matthews, Kreider, Forsberg, and Vrana shooting stats percentages or whatever. Um, Vrana has a higher shooting percentage than both Matthews and Forsberg. He only loses to Kreider by 0.2%. I think that just shows how good he is at shooting. Obviously, he only played a quarter of the season, right? But at the end of the day, like over the course of a long term on a Detroit team that only got better, this guy can get 45 goals. Genuinely, he's that good, and I guess we have to see.
Yeah, I think sites like there's a if you check out Money Puck, I believe they have adjusted shooting percentage, or it kind of adjusts for shooting talent because, like you said, shooting percentage, not really viewed as a sustainable thing in the NHL, but that's for your run of the mill NHL player. When you have random guys from the bottom six that break out with a 30-goal season, that's when you'll hear everyone say, "Oh, that's not sustainable. He's going to come back down to earth next year." But obviously, that's not the case for guys like Ovechkin and Matthews. And I'd say Verona too. Like he's a skilled shooter. So I'm going to check out after this. I'm going to see where Verona lies on Money Puck for his talent adjusted shooting percentage.
Good idea.
Probably pretty good.